Hello everybody, my name is Christian Quick and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about two things, so follow them by their time stamps. The first thing we're going to be making is the door. The second thing that we are going to be making is the trap door. So let's get started. So when it comes to the door, let us simply, this shouldn't be too hard. Let's grab the slab block because it is basically a block. Control V, and then let's call this a door block, and then it's going to say, hey, you're going to need a settings. Let's fix that for a second, but let's do dark door, and then we're going to do call this a door, and then the door block. So let's go into blocks, include non-project files. Let's go into the Minecraft blocks, and then let's just for an example, let's look up oak uh, door, and it's going to say door block, and then here it says that we have the here it is. It's a little bit different. So let's just kind of copy this whole thing, material, the get default state. We're just gonna copy everything. I feel like that isn't everything. Control C. No, it was. And then let us just kind of let's paste it in here, and then it's gonna say, hey, calm down for a moment down here. So let's get rid of this. So we are looking at, so it's going to, so just kind of copy and paste the whole thing, and then make sure that you have one parenthesis and a comma, mod item group, and then an end parenthesis and a semicolon. So that was basically just fixing that. For it's oak planks, we don't have oak planks, we have this thing called dark planks. And so now we have copied that over correctly. It is, and we also copied all the settings of the door. So that is pretty good. Uh, when it comes down to the loot table in the model, there is a special thing for the loot table, and obviously we're going to be making a special model, so nothing in the data generation. So let's start with the block states. Now, what makes the block states unique for a door is the fact that it's not taking one block, it is taking two, and that's why the loot tables are also interesting. So let's look up the door. We have an acacia door right here, so we're just going to cover this into a block states acacia door. I should have renamed it before I said okay, refactor rename, and we'll call this the dark door. We'll hit refactor, and let's take a look at all the block states. Now this one has a lot, and just kind of similar to like the stairs, and it's because of how it's positioned, and then is it open, is it closed, and stuff like that. So let's control F, let's type in Minecraft, and let's select all of them, and we are now going to change it to your mod ID, whatever it is, and then we're going to change whatever the acacia is, and we're going to just change this to dark. And there's going to be a couple of models, so let's open up our models, block models, and then I don't like it when it does that. Going out through Minecraft, models, block, and then we're going to look up door again, acacia door, and then here you can tell there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This one is yeah, this one's a lot, but it is okay. We're gonna go through one at a time, and we're gonna try and fix them all. All right, so first things first, rename all of them. So this is gonna take a second. So got the dark door bottom left. We got this one, dark door bottom left open, dark door bottom right, and then you would have dark door bottom right open, refactor rename, dark door top left, and then we'd have dark door top left open, refactor rename, dark door top right, and then lastly, dark door top right open. So if we go through here, it's going to say that there are textures. There is the top block and the bottom block. It does bottom first, so bottoms up, but you'll notice something is that as we go through them, that the type of door stays the same, but the rest of them are the same. So what we're going to do, let's go for just the first one. let us change this to HMH3 and this a top texture. And we're going to call this also HMH3. We're going to call this for dark door top and then dark door bottom. And then we are just going to copy simply just the textures. Control C. And then make sure that we're in this one. We're going to Control V. Because the texture of the door does not actually change. It's just the position of the door. The model stays the same. It's literally just in all these positions we want it to look like this. But the texture does stay the same. So we're just going to copy the textures. The type of door is what's changing. So now that we have all of those models, item model, I believe, actually has its own special and unique texture. So that's interesting. And then if I look up the door, actually, we can just copy it from here. I see it. We'll do dark door. And then this, because it's got that layer 0, it's actually pointing to a texture. So we're going to have to make one. HMH3 item dark door. All right, so now that all of the models are done, let us not forget the lang file. So let's put a comma here, and we're going to call this the dark door, and then this is going to be the block, and this would be the dark door. So now, basically all the assets are done except for the textures. We are going to have to make specialized textures for these ones. So it's not like planks, where we could just like copy it over something. But let's try and get the data together. So let's take a look at what we got. So we have the loot table, recipes, and some tags. Let's just focus on, I don't think there's a couple tags. So backing up, we got data. Let's do the loot table first. So in loot table block, and then we got the door. Open up your loot tables first, and then make sure you have your blocks because you want to be able to see that. I didn't mean to copy it into something. Copy Acacia Door into your blocks. I made this mistake before, and then it wasn't working, so it needs to be inside your blocks folder. So here we have the dark door, and then here it's basically saying uh, that if the half is it'll break from the lower half, but the top half doesn't drop it. So if you break a door and you don't add it specifically like the property to be half, you'll end up every time somebody breaks the door, it'll drop 2 doors. Very strange, but that's what it is. So HMH3, dark door, and then here we're going to do it again for HMH3, and then we're going to call for dark door. So that is the loot table. Pretty simple, pretty simple. And then let's get into the recipes. All right, and then we're going to get the acacia door. We're going to put it in here, and we're going to call it the dark door. And then we are going to change the acacia planks into HMH3 dark planks, and then once again here with HMH3 dark door. That's what you'll be getting. I personally like to take these 2 out. And then every time we make a recipe, we should make an advancement for that recipe. So this would be actually, I did the same thing. I did the same thing last time. I like to copy anything that's dark, so we'll call this the dark door. Hit OK. And then so basically, if I obtain the dark planks, then I will unlock the recipe dark door, dark door. That's why I like to, because this is practically the same. I just changed the recipe. So now the door is in there. So we have the advancements. So the only thing that we need is our tags. So let us go into Minecraft, tags, blocks, mineable, and then here if we go into axe, let's type in and see if there is, oh, it's right here, Minecraft wooden doors. So because it is a block in the world that is physically being broken, we need to make sure that we stay within our block tags. Because we're not using it in a crafting table, we're using it in the world. So let's look up wooden doors. And then from here, we're going to control D. We're going to put HMH3, and then we are going to call it the dark door. So that should be generally everything all put together. The only thing we have to do is put in those three textures. Hello, it is I, the fancy editor. What's very most important when you're copying textures is that when you re-export them, to change the name, either change the name to whatever Minecraft has if you copy the Minecraft files. If you change the Minecraft file models, the models point to the texture. So if you change the name of the texture, you need to make sure that your texture matches the same exact name as the texture name in the models, because it's going to say models and then it's going to want your texture. So that is the most important thing. Otherwise, you're going to get that missing texture because it doesn't know what you're trying to point at. I was thinking about being fancy, and then it was I'm not as fancy as I thought I was, and then I was like, you know what? I think it's perfectly fine just the way it is. Um, this this chapter's doing pretty good, I'd say. I figured this was gonna be probably a little bit more popular than it was. Some things take a little bit of a delay before they get around, I guess. But I'm kind of excited for I have some future plans for certain things. I got plans. I got big plans. Plans for basically these last 2 weeks that I have for this little series that I have going on here. And it's not like you're never going to hear me again after the series ends. But I need to make sure that I take all the notes from this series that I had here, any problems, anything that went wrong, things that could have done better, and then I need to revamp the whole series and start again when we hit in 1.20. But I also need to make sure that how all the changes in 1.20 are applicable and needs to change them any way that I need. But beyond that, I mean, I'm sure everything will be fine. So I'm gonna get back into the video. Um, But yeah, I mean, if you want to say anything, you can write them down in the comments below, please. But yeah, I'll probably have some more stuff to say throughout the future videos. But for now, that's gonna be it for this Or this isn't an outro. Let's get back to the regular video, and then let's see how the store is doing. Alright, now that all the textures are in, we didn't run anything in the data generation, so we can just start the client and see how everything looks. Alright, and already we have unlocked a new recipe, so things are looking good from here. Let us go in survival and make ourselves a crafting table. And then we got ourselves some planks, so if we just do this, we will unlock the doors. And then from here, um, up. It seems that I did forget something. See how you cannot see through the doors? But we'll fix that in a second. The doors do open and close, and they do break by hand, but can they break faster with an axe? The answer is yes. So, if I place it on the ground, you can see through it, but when I place it on the ground, you can't. That is because we need to add this to our client. We're going to control D, and then we're going to call this under the, let's call it the dark door, and then let's take a look now that it's got the render.get cutout, so it's going to cut out that black space and look good. Alright, here we are, loaded back up in the world, and in its bright and glory, we can see right through it, so that is pretty good. So now we can replace this door in here. Oh, I just realized. Let's see if we can replace that too. Let's just, and then we're gonna pretend that there's nothing more under there, and we're just gonna put that on there, and we'll call it a day. So let's work on the trapdoors now. All right. Coming in, so we are just going to control D, and then we're going to call this the dark trap door. And then we're going to call this the trapdoor, and then this is going to be the trapdoor block. And it seems that we have the settings that is required for the just let from the door, so that is pretty good. We are once again, well, actually, no. In this, we can actually, there's nothing special, so we can control D, and we can add the dark dark trapdoor to our loot table. So every time we break it, we will get one trapdoor back. That is wonderful. It does have a special model, so we're going to have to make that. And then let's make sure that first thing, since we already know, let's actually add this to the dark trapdoor, because I know that when I make the texture, it's going to get a cutout. If you don't have a texture, like if it's like the spruce one, where there's no holes in it, you don't have to put the dot get cut out. Moving straight into the resources, we are going to start with our assets, Minecraft, block states, and then let's look up the trap door. And then here we have Acacia Trapdoor, so let's put it in our block states, rename it to Dark Trapdoor, hit OK. And then now we have all of the trapdoor types. So let's Control F first. Let's change that Minecraft into our name, our ID, mod ID. And then we are going to call this for a dark trapdoor, and then we're going to have open, bottom, top. So we're gonna figure out all those models. Let's take a look at what they are. So let's go into our models block, and then we can look up trapdoor. And here we're gonna have, looks like we're gonna have three: bottom, open, and top. So in our models blocks, and then we can just simply add these three in, Control C, Control V, OK. And then we're going to rename these things firsthand. So I'm going to call this the dark trapdoor bottom, and then they're going to be moved to refactor rename dark dark trapdoor open, and then the last one is going to be dark trapdoor top. And these have moved down here at the bottom. That is perfectly fine. Let's take a look at what is going on here. So it's saying, get the texture Minecraft trapdoor. Now this is a really extreme name, but we want to fix this, just the texture, because that is all that we are changing. So we are going to go in here, the block, and then we're going to call it the dark trapdoor, and then we are just going to copy the texture, Control C, and then we're going to Control V, and we're going to do Control V in here as well. So everything is pointing to that trapdoor. And then we're just going to let the parent block model take care of the rest of how it actually is working based on how we're placing it. But we are going to take an item model, and I believe the item model is like the placed one. Could be wrong. let's find out together, shall we? So if I go in item, and then I look up the trapdoor, the acacia trapdoor here in item models, and then here we're going to call it for the dark trapdoor. This one is taking from bottom. So let's call for the dark. Make sure that you change the Minecraft into HMH3. And then that is good. I'm going to make sure that I change those two, because I've made that mistake many times. And then now that all the models are in, let us take in the lang file, enus. So let's Control a D, and then let's call for trapdoor. Put a little comma there. And then trapdoor. All right. So now we have all of the assets done except for the textures. We're going to save the textures for last. So now let's go into data. And we don't have to make a loot table, but we are going to have to put in a recipe. Going out data, Minecraft, so back into data, recipes, and then we're going to have the acacia trap door. Let's just put that in our recipes, and let's call it the dark trap door. And then from here, we can take the acacia planks, and we're going to change it into HMH3, the dark planks, and then we are going to change this here to HMH3, dark trapdoor, and then here we are going to get two of them. Now, once again, just like the stairs, I feel that we are getting gypped out of this. So I feel that you can either write 6 or 12, whatever makes you feel better. In this case, I'm just going to write 6. And then I'm going to take these personally out of here as well, but you can make it as ever as you feel. Every time that you also put in a recipe, I would also suggest putting in an advancement for it. So let's take the dark door here, for example, and call it the trapdoor. And then for here, we have our dark planks, and that will unlock the trapdoor recipe. Cool. The last thing that I would want to do is we would go into our Minecraft, tags, blocks, and then if we look in our mineable for the axe, if we look at doors here, there is also one specifically for wooden trapdoors. And because this goes directly into, because this is a block that is in the world, we are wanting to look for the wooden trapdoors in the block tags, and then we can just simply add our trapdoor. So HMH3 dark trapdoor. And so now from here we just need to make the texture, and then everything should be good. Haha, it is I, the editor. I get a second chance to say something. Um, I don't know what to say. I have all my stuff said in like the first one. But, I mean, if you want to say something, you can. Whatever. I'm not going to be adding signs, and honestly, even with all my experience, I still don't know how to make stuff like beds. That was something in the color chapter, and in this chapter, I don't know how to make boats. I decided to skip signs because I wanted to. There's like special formats for how the chapters wanted to go, and I didn't feel like squeezing it in with everything else, especially considering it's a mix-in, and I try and stay away from mix-ins. So, with that in mind, let's continue on with the last part of the video. And then from there, let's make sure that because we put in the loot table for this, we are going to want to run the data generation before we run the client. Alright, and we unlocked a new recipe, so that is a very good first sign. So let us put in the recipe for the trapdoors, and here I get 6. I can place them in the ground, and they work and function perfectly fine. If I break it, they do break, and they do drop the 1. So that is perfectly fine. Everything is working just well and swell. So that is going to be it for this particular video. I'm going to try and slap these on here. I'm putting them in the wrong direction. Oh, I can do this. Boom, look at that. Awesome, so now we got our doors and trapdoors added, so that is pretty good. Next one what we're going to be doing is, well, in the next video we're going to be doing buttons and pressure plates. So, that is going to be it for this video, so thank you guys so much for watching, and without further ado,